Peace. In the name of Allah, I'm Aubrey Muhammad. I pray that everyone is well. Hemsptead family, friends, and believers, welcome to my live session. I'm dealing with growing up in Hemsptead in the late 80s and the early 80s. That's the late 70s or early 80s. Now, right behind me is 299 Jackson. As you know, I was on 33 East Graham, just 79. In the winter of 79, I believe it, I remember it well because I was riding my 10-speed over here. Right here, 299 Jackson. It's a colonial brick apartment. I'm not gonna walk too far because I got my car left running. But this is the front entrance of what we used to call the courtyard. And this is, well, I was like 13 about then. You see that's a double entrance there. It's a little different now. But this mainly was Jewish, and other white people lived in these colonial apartments in Hempstead up until the 60s. Up until the 60s, Hempstead was white. I think it was some Irish women too that lived there. But as you know, in the 60s, it turned black, so that white flight made a lot of the Caucasians leave. They stayed more towards the Uniondale border, definitely towards the Garden City border, and towards the West Hempstead Garden City border, over there behind the high school, by the White Castle. Yeah, over there, White Castle near the golf course. A lot of white people stayed in Hempstead on that boundary, and especially towards the Uniondale border, which is mainly West Indian now, mainly Jamaican. A lot of Jamaican immigrants came into Jamaicans are not immigrants. Jamaicans nor Puerto Ricans are immigrants. A lot of immigrants from South America started coming to Hempstead into the 80s, all right? And a lot of that was right here. Matter of fact, it was still white people in that them colonials across the street there. See right there? I think it was one white boy there, a crazy white boy named Rob or Jim. We used to go, his moms went and let him hang out with us in the 80s because he was wild. No, I think it was Michael. Michael, yeah, white boy. His mom wouldn't let him hang out with us, so he would come to his windows. Windows on the first floor, a little in the compound, the apartment compound, and near the circle, and we would go hang out under his windows, smoke and talk a little crap, because he used to like to hang out with us. So it was only like a couple of white people around here. And actually, 299 Jackson, it was black, and then it started, the Spanish there, but mainly Puerto Rican. As you know, my sister Lucy, she was Spanish speaking, and it was mainly black during those first like 5-6 years, from 79 to like 84. There were a lot of South American immigrants from Honduras, Guatemala, have come into Hempstead. And many were imported during the 80s. Immigration stopped in America. What you see is not immigration today. This is importation, all right? This is not immigration. Let me adjust this camera a little. Yeah. This is not immigration. The last immigration stopped like in the mid-80s. After that, especially the 90s, in Harlem and right here in Hempstead, man, it's been an importation. But the mix up here with the white flight came, and it was real estate brokers and social service and housing that was placing us in places. I remember my mom's and my stepdad, Sonny, when she started going with Sonny when they were there, they were looking for other housing from here because this got infested with mice and roaches and stuff like that. It was an ongoing battle. When we first moved in, it was all right, but after a while, other people trash. When your neighbors are filthy, you are filthy. All right? So, gracias. So when you get to a place is nice, it'll stay nice, and even if you exterminate your place, the roaches and the rats, they go to the next apartment. So you have to coordinate how you exterminate, get rid of vermin in your place. And here it started getting bad. at 299 Jackson. But when we first moved in, it was nice and clean. 79, this was considered nice, an upgrade. And across the street, as you know, is 150 Washington. Behind it to the curb is 135 Jackson. What am I doing? 135 Clinton, then 100 Washington on the other side. Those were considered luxury buildings. Eddie Murphy lived over there. Eddie Murphy lived in 600 Fulton. He lived in 451 Fulton, I believe. Then he moved over here, 135 Clinton or 100 Washington. There's a picture of him standing on the patio when he was working at Saturday Night Live. And that's when he was considered luxury. When you were a TV star, Saturday Night Live, he was a star then. That's right, a rising star, right? But considered Saturday Night Live, that was the top comedy show. Chevy Chase in there. And he brought all that excitement to it and a fresh new perspective. So this was considered luxury, and it was. 79, that's when I turned wild. 70, it was something in the food, something in the miseducation, it damn sure was. I remember when I first started being like unconformative, because to conform in this society, see, this is the misnomer. This is the misperception. This is the bad part. When they call you good. They call you making it, doing something. If you Native Black American in America, those of us who built the country after chattel slavery, during chattel slavery and then after chattel slavery, we mistreated under Jim Crow and all type of red line and everything. We're the only group in this nation sabotaged by their government, sabotaged and undermined by their very government, right? So coming up poor, middle class, few rich people, but the community value was more than, because we spent our money with ourselves, because we couldn't go to the other neighborhoods. This was the center of segregation. Levittown, this is a couple of towns down. But this building, 150 Washington, this was considered luxury, and there was a few good families over there. There was a lot of people over there, black, and I forgot his name, Darrell and his good sister. I used to like his sister too. They had a pool over there, and they used to let us. We used to play with them, and that's when hip hop first came out. Sugar Hill Gang, Rappers Delight. We was back here. We was wild. 299 Jackson. we were wild. The youngsters. I'm gonna get into that. Oh my God. So, us visiting the more, what would you say, not established, but the more, high income family, more little stable families did live in these apartments here. But the 100 Washington was always the best building. It was always upkept the best. It was kept, they kept it good all the way up until like a decade ago. 100 Washington always stood out amongst these buildings. I think Mr. Brown used to live there. He was the head of the tennis association there. So he made sure that building was tip top. I walked all through these buildings, door to door, knocked on every door since like 97, excuse me. I think it was 97. Yeah. Door to door through these apartments, and I had noticed how they use us to displace others. Hard-working black families that mind their business, they come home from work, they do their little errands, go to the store, pick up things. On the weekend, go hang out or something, have fun. Want to relax at night, watch the TV, hang out, or whatever you're going to do in your house. They started placing our unruly, miscultivated family in this building, 150 Washington. Now they did that. Why did they do that? Because that's to run out the decent people. That's that planning. That's devitalization. That leads to displacement. That's the forerunner and the early parts of gentrification right here in Hempstead. Right here it started, and I witnessed it. And I was part of that bad news from 79 to, 80, from 79 to 89. We were in this building, and this was considered like a luxury in Hempstead. Yeah, if you were rich, Hempstead had mansions. I used to go visit him. Me and Vincent Norman would go over his aunt's house. He's just being a jackass, ain't he? Me and Vincent Norman would be over his aunt's house. Mrs. Norman, she was a teacher. That's right, a teacher at, I think it was Prospect School, right. Mrs. Norman and Mr. Norman, I believe he was a teacher. And we would go visit their nice, beautiful house in a row of mansions on Hilton. Cathedral had mansions, and it's actually like one or two. Actually, our brother Douglas Thomas over on Ingraham, his house is considered a mansion, over on Ingraham Estates. So there are a few, what would you call that, hamlets. So the covers, what are those called, cul-de-sacs, something like that, cul-de-sacs. They're a little closed off, a little dead end, and a little private, that are wealthy. You gotta have some money to buy them homes. Some of them are mansions. The Vanderbilts and all the rich people used to establish, that's who established Hempstead on Long Island. Hempstead was a hub, it was a center, right from New York City. In the the centuries ago. So those early mansions remain, and rich people bought into them, but they were a distance from us. So we would be bad news in there. We would go to visit our friends in the at the pool. I think his name was Darryl. And he had a good sister, and his sister was fine. I forgot her name. I liked her. And a few of us, we thought she was attractive. And there was a few good-looking sisters over here at 299 Jackson. So this building, we would go to the pool, hang out, but we wouldn't just hang out. When we, 79 to like 86, oh my God, man, we would go in the hallways, start hanging out. We would go on the roof where we weren't supposed to, getting high, smoking weed, drinking. And there was a lot of stuff we did. And now it was so-called decent people, let me put that in quotes, decent people living in apartments, then, you live in your life, and then it's your friends, your children. They call their school friends over, and then they come hanging out. That's where trouble starts, in these apartments. Most of the time, it's not the tenants. Commonly, in a common sense, a common community, people very decent, minding their business, want to go to work and be left alone. For the most part, bad news is actually orchestrated by the deep state. And it's timed, very timed. They take apartments and they do this on purpose. Don't you know, right here, Madison Monroe, behind me, those were considered look, that's right, the Madison Monroe, I forgot which one was which, named after two wicked ass presidents. The Madison Monroes, Lisa Turner used to live over there. A whole bunch of our friends lived over there. Tiny, D, my brother D Weathers, a whole bunch of our people lived over there. I'm trying to think, Lisa Turner, I used to go with Lisa Turner. We was a little boyfriend and girlfriend over there back in '79 for a minute, right? And a lot of people lived over there. I think Andre lived in an apartment back there in the little two-floor apartment, the two-story apartments in the back of us. That was considered luxury. I don't think they had a pool. No, they didn't. They had a pool. 451 Fulton had a pool. And we used to go. It was hard to visit the pool over there, but it was easy to visit this one with your friends. So we would go in there, hanging out in the hallways and on the roof and getting in trouble. We did, because we were here at where? 299 Jackson. This was the center of rough news. Oh my God. And it started with me right before that. Don't you know, me and Kevin Adams were in Prospect School. And this, I think it was the 5th grade. It wasn't Prospect 1 through 5. And the middle school is 6, 7, and 8. I think it is. I was in Prospect School, the 5th grade. Me and Kevin Adams went to McCory's. I think Woolworth had closed down and transferred to McCory's. And McCory's, and we were fascinated with the toys. Remember Jaws? They had the shark there, the little rubber shark. And we would steal stuff, candy and stuff like that. We would buy some stuff, but if it was something but we didn't have the money for, we would lift it. We never got caught because we were children. So one day we were at lunch, and me and Kevin Adams were in McCory's, and he went back to school. I said, yo, I'm staying. He said, what you staying for, Or? I said, because I don't want to go back. That's when I first cut class. that was Prospect School, and actually, it was a big deal. Well, I didn't know that cutting out like that, staying for skipping the class was so bad. All the teachers were looking for me. It was a big deal. And Kevin Adams, he told them fast. I left him at McCory's. That was not snitching. Back as children in Prospect School, to your black teachers, to your black relatives, your aunties, your uncles, your cousins, and your family. If you told on another family member to your family, that was not snitching, my brothers and sisters. That was on code, all right? Snitching was to the police. These alienating police back there. That's snitching. So I thought it was, I didn't think nothing of it. All the staff of the school was looking for me. Then I walked into the school and I got in trouble. I was slated to go to a trip upstate to Albany. They had me on a backup list. And then, because one child couldn't make it because he was sick or something like that. So they had me as a backup and they canceled it. They said, because you did that, you can't go on the trip. And that's when I learned consequences of what you're doing that. And I didn't do that anymore at Prospect School. But as soon as I got here, 299 Jackson, that was the turning point. 299 Jackson. I was 13. Started right away. Remember? Yeah, I think we was doing a little rapping, a little breakdancing right before Rappers Alike came out. I think maybe a year or two before that. The first basement party. No, it wasn't the first basement party, but it was a basement party I was at where I first heard Brother Israel Evans DJing and Brother Vincent Norman. He was breakdancing. He got on the floor. It was Dance to the Drummer's Beat. So I was, yo, what's that? And Vince said, yeah, man, that's it. Israel said that's scratching. He was scratching because he had seen them doing it in the city, I think the Bronx, because me and Vincent used to go visit his dad's other family in the Bronx when we were young, in the late 70s. That's the South Bronx, the Yankee Stadium. It was a little rough around here too. In the 70s, the Bronx. Man. So we was here. Rappers Delight had come out. It was a little before that. I was 13 years old, and right on that corner, you see that the stoplight there, right on that corner. At that corner, I was 13, and I looked down on the sidewalk, and I saw a brand new Salem light. And I went down to that Salem light. Peace, brother. Next time, all right. Yeah, peace unto you. Yeah, he talking to himself. I'll talk to him later. You know, brother got, I don't want to put him on the camera. Yeah, but, yeah, peace, brother. Yeah, I'll talk to you later, brother. He's doing his own podcast next to me. That's the way it is, man. You and Hemsptead, brother. I'm not gonna put him on camera, but I would like to talk. I'm gonna talk to him after if he's still there. But if y'all hear him mumbling in the background, let him mumble. You know, he's walking. I'll talk to him after the podcast, you know, after the live, because that's serious issues. Our family need counseling, man. I don't throw people like that away. I let them be themselves, and I go to them where they at on their level. If I people in the mud, I don't look up at them and look down and get into what you do. Yeah, he'll come back. I know where he's going. I'm gonna speak to him. You get down in the mud with them, and you getting dirty in the mud to pull them up, to raise them up. Because you be grateful for what you're going through. I was just talking about what started me off on like vices and narcotics. 13 years old, I found a brand new Salem light, and now that's nasty, picking up a cigarette in the street. I didn't realize it then. You know, but I was so excited. I didn't have access to cigarettes. My mom didn't smoke. Nobody smoked. So I saw that cigarette there. So I picked it up, and I had matches. I was a little firebug. You know, I like playing with a little fire. Even started a few little fires. You know, maybe 2 or 3, something like that. We all did. A lot of unguided youth. We do that. That's exciting to have a little something, make a little spark, make a great fire. Some people, that feel empowered by that. Just graffiti and destroying things like that. You feel empowered doing that stuff. So that Salem light, I took it, I never forget it. I took it, I inhaled it, and I coughed the loudest cough and inhale I ever did. I was coughing and yakking and hocking and coughing, bending over right at that corner. That was a Salem light that I had in the late 70s. Had to have been 79 because I just moved here. And at 79, after doing that, I later started not enjoying cigarettes, but cigarettes were what comfort. Cigarettes were like a safety blanket. Cigarettes are not healthy. Putting smoke in your lungs, that's your body rejects it. So you're doing something your body naturally rejects, and yet you think is good. It's not good. What does it do? It comforts you. It's like sort of like a painkiller, a relaxer. It's something that takes your stress, your anxiety, your trauma, and you release it through that. So, and that was the start of damn. And that was the first cigarette I had. I didn't stop smoking until I was right here in apartment 7A at 299 Jackson. I was smoking 2 pack of Cool Miles a day when I stopped smoking in 1987, I think it was. No, it was 86. No, it was like 87, 88. 87, 88. I was watching the Tony Brown Journal, and Dick Gregory was on there. And Dick Gregory, he was quoting the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. He said, y'all that follow Muhammad, Elijah, he cleaned you up. And the first thing he did was change your diet. And that was not a falsehood. He changed the diet, what we ate, physically and mentally. And I did it on a Friday. I think I took he said take some whole wheat toast, put it in the oven, toast it up, as black as you want it, as crispy as you want it, and he said burn the toast. He said until it's burnt like charcoal. He said that charcoal will, he said it's like activated charcoal. He said you burn the toast. It's sort of correct, but it's not. Activated charcoal is activated charcoal. It's like it absorbs impurities. But I tried it. I did that, and that's when I stopped smoking cigarettes. 2 packs a day. And I even smoked a cigar. But I stopped smoking weed like in 86. I was in jail and I stopped smoking weed. Those addictions and vices, they hang. But the source of them is usually trauma. You want to escape trauma, And there was a lot around here. There was a lot of fun times, a lot of good times, but when you're getting in trouble, it's bad times. So you have to make the most out of your circumstance. And there was a whole bunch of circumstances right here at 299 Jackson. It was so bad. I had got so corrupt. What? To prevent your account from being finished. They ended my life. Peace. In the name of Allah, I'm Aubrey Muhammad. The live just got interrupted. I got a message from Facebook saying my audio was something. I had something in my audio. I don't know what it was. I didn't cuss. I'm just telling my story. I don't know, but I'm back. Let me get through it before they interrupt it again. So I started right there young. 79, Rapper's Delight, right here at 299 Jackson. Now, I was stealing and lying before that at 33 East Graham, stealing stuff from the house, and lying about it. And I heard that, and that was learned behavior. That was a quiet model behavior that I saw those around me. Be careful of who you hide from. Sneaking around. Back then they had the phones. If somebody called you on the phone and you didn't have caller ID, which required a lot of money then, the phone was a lot of money. If you used the phone a lot, you had to pay for them landlines. The time that you spoke, and even if long distance, you had to pay high rates for that. So people would call your house and you would have family members ducking people, and they would be hiding in the corner like they could see you on the phone. Who is it? Who is it? And then they would be sneaking, moving their mouth, letting the other person read their lips. Who is it? And they would cover the phone and say, such and such and so and so. So tell them I'm not here. that was the that was the way, I guess, blocking the call, letting it go to voicemail back in the 70s and 80s. That sneakiness, though. See, your children see that sneakiness, and they model not what you did, but the energy. See, we model the energy, and that turns bad, okay? And I had a lot of bad energy here, man. I had some good energy, and you know what spared my life from really going downhill? Okay, yeah, it's live. Let me know how the audio is, y'all. Because Facebook cut off the first one. I had a message saying that it was a violation, something. They stopped, and I'm here. I didn't cuss. I remember that. Wow. So, 79, oh my God. Rappers Delight, hip hop. We was hanging out. And I modeled the generation before us. Not the generation before me. Let me take that back. We didn't model the generation before us. We modeled the people older than us. My sun is getting in my face. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, we modeled the people who were older than us. That was like my brother Early. He swung in. He said, yeah, I knew the Heights from, I knew Hemsptead from back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s and all. Brother Early. It was other brothers, especially on the Heights. And 299 Jackson here. Not too many here. We were not, it wasn't nobody hard in these buildings. It was all on the Heights, in the hills, on the drive, and on a terrace, which I was hanging out hard. But the older group, they were partying hard. And man, they were clubbing and partying hard. Hempstead had bars everywhere. Now the generation before me, they were in the bars. On the Heights was the Gladys Den, and I think the Scorpio Lounge was around here. The Burgundy something, I forgot I always confuse Burgundy with the sisters, Sister Gina and them. In the middle school, they had the shirts from Jamaica Avenue, the Burgundy Diamonds, something like that. And we had other crews and stuff like that, and posses. Back in the late 70s and early 80s, we called our little crew posses and stuff like that. And Gina and them, I think that was Gail. We called it Burgundy Diamonds, something like that. And it was other groups. On the Heights, we were the Chill Out crew. On the hills, they had probably D over here was a Slick Hard crew. And I got a story about them. We was hanging out right behind this Madison Monroe. That was funny. That's towards the end, because that's when I really started getting in trouble. I'm bringing us from 79 to the early 80s here, when I was just off the chain. It was the AMP behind this building. The AMP, right, I think it's a Bravo now, something like that. Well, that used to be an AMP, and we were just living in there, almost stealing. We would steal from there, and I can say a few names, and me, who was there? I'll say the nicknames and stuff. There was a whole bunch of us here. I'm gonna go into it. I'm starting this day, early 80s. And the AMP up in here, well, first of all, let me give a prayer for my brother Rumper. Rumper prayed that my brother healed and he's restored to good health. I give the prayer with him, my mom, and all my relatives, those with medical challenges, because I went through it too. Those medical challenges, and you need healing, you need prayer, you need support. We need therapy, counseling, you need all that medical attention. But the most importantly is concern and a prayer for all our brothers and sisters with medical challenges. Because I have myself, you know what I'm saying? And people pray for me. And I'd be like, all praise is due to Allah, thank you. And I'm healed. All praise is due to Allah. Got a tendinosis in the left ankle. That's a lifelong energy. That's manageable now. That thing I used to be wincing and yelling in pain. So I know pain. I'm still on painkillers adjusting for that. You know what I'm saying? Narcotic painkillers, a little. But I take the THC now and the other drops to help get off the narcotics. Because narcotics is worse. The worst addiction is narcotic than THC. CBD, THC, CBD combination, tincture, not the smoke. You shouldn't smoke anything, right? The tinctures and the drops are a little more effective. if you're not getting high, if you ain't micro doses work better, and actually in a cocktail of natural stuff work better than narcotics anyway. So we're here at 299 Jackson, and we were just cutting up. We would steal stuff from the A&P. We would be hanging out, getting high, buying 40s. That's right, that was B-boy time. We had the matching tracksuits, the Kango hat, the Adidas. That's when the sneaker craze hit. We had, like in the 70s, you could name the number of sneakers across the country, right? It was like, I think the name brand, which many of us didn't have, that was like Pony, and Nike didn't even make basketball sneakers then. Nike made track sneakers, the red, white, and blue ones. Who else was that? I think Adidas made track sneakers. Not Feli. They had Pro-Keds, or you had Skips. They had a whole bunch of Skips back then in the 70s, in the early 80s. Of course, the Converse Chuck Taylors. That was like the first brand of sneakers. But in the 80s, it was only a few then, but in the 80s, sneakers took off. We had Adidas, the Superstars, we had the Pumas, we had the suede, all type of sneakers started coming out. Feli, in the 80s, our sneakers we had clothes, we were tight with the clothes. The Kango, the matching tracksuit and the sneakers. Then we had the sport luxury clothes, We had the British Walkers. Oh man, that's coming back to me. We had all type of shoes, Clarks, Wallabies. Then what's that, Quarterfill? We had sheepdogs, all type of nice clothes and stuff. And that's when Dapper Dan kicked in. Dapper Dan made all type of style. He took it to another level with his uniqueness. He took those luxury brands and styled it in his fashion. And he was a hit, and he's an awesome brother today. I have a couple of his new clothes out from the Gap. It's called a DAP brand. It's DAP and Gap, where he collaborates with Gap, and he put out a unique style of clothing. I got some, support the brother. And he has a boutique in Harlem with very expensive clothes that are unique with Gucci, and he's very successful with that. So all praise due to Allah. But all to the brothers and sisters here that you hear me shouting out, and they're not here today, give all praises due to Allah and give prayers and support for them, and support for their families and those of us that went through this hard life, man. Because I started out here a street scrambler, wild, hanging out, doing everything. We were in Hemsptead hard. Hemsptead back then was a school to prison pipeline, which it is today. Those of us that survived. It ain't too many of us Native Black Americans still in the school system. That broken village board and the broken school board have brought in imports. And then they brag about how excellent they're graduating imports instead of Native people. You know what I'm saying? So our excellence, and that's another point I want to make about conformity. We all think doing good, making it, being somebody, is being conformative to American white supremacy, serving some corporation, making some white man rich, serving him. You do all the work and labor. He collects all the profits under capitalism. He give you a pat on the back, a certificate on the wall, and that's considered success. And you being passive and humbly accepting that position, you're considered good under good. You did a good thing. You're a good person for being a slave, for being exploited. But when you stand up to do something for yourself, this government literally undermines us. Ever since we've been here. Ever since they came here, really. They the invaders. We not. Native Black people are the original owners of the Western Hemisphere. So at 299 Jackson, we would hang out in the basement. They had the Super had literally an apartment in the basement. Down there was furniture, a refrigerator, sofa, a bed, all type of stuff. by the laundry room in the back. It was, yeah, this building here. Yeah, matter of fact, that's it there. You see that red, can y'all see that? It's a red it's a red over here. Geez, wow, I got my bearings wrong. There we go. It's right there. It's a red, what is that? A cookout grill. They got grills lined up against that whole thing. That red cookout grill down in that basement was a laundry room. And it was filthy and dark. And a bad place to be. Someone was almost attacked down there, I believe. They had a lot of unsavory characters hanging out in the back by the parking lot too. But we as youngsters, we was kind of wild. We didn't harm our people here. You know, we would do crimes other places. We would, if it was an opportunity to steal something that wasn't tied down, we would. We were stealing cars from back there, but we wasn't harming the tenants here. We wouldn't do that because they knew us. We knew everybody in the 70s and 80s in Hempstead. We didn't harm people here. If it did, it was rare. They would get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So they had a room in the basement. We would hang out there, getting high, listening to hip hop, rhyming, coming up with all type of stuff, being creative. Excuse me. We had great creative energy, but it was being misplaced. We were being fed weed, cocaine, alcohol. You know what I'm saying? And that stuff took a toll on us. It made us out of our mind. They put angel dust on us, cocaine, and all type of drugs. They put that in the community. And we would vie with each other to sell it and buy it. Creating an underground market, you know, of, what would you call that? Vice, you know, cutthroat, survival. Every man for himself. We'd team up in some instances, and the person on the top would make the money, but the street runner, very little money he was making from that. Crime does not pay unless you're a professional. Street crime does not pay at all. You pay, you know? So we would hang out here hard, man. 299 Jackson. We would have house parties and stuff. And remember, it was only like a couple of white people still in the neighborhood, but we had a white family that was very positive, that related to us. They were good people. Matter of fact, they hung out with us. And matter of fact, the white boy, his name, we called him White Rob because there was another Rob Mansfield, Sue Mansfield, and their wonderful mom, Mary, that lived above us. May Allah be pleased with Mary and Rob. Their children doing well now. They're down south, the grandchildren, everybody. They lived above us, and we call Black Rob, we call Rob Mansfield Black Rob. And we call Rob, Henry? White Rob. And the irony is that Rob Mansfield was maybe 1 or 2 shades darker than me. He's a very light-skinned brother. So the contrast, we called him Black Rob. And White Rob used to hang out with us. And he did everything we did. Got in trouble and stuff, hanging out, smoking, in them hallways too, and everything. And Marchette hung out with our sisters. They went to the same party and the same friends and everything, hung out, did everything together. And they considered family to us. Marchette, down south, and our wonderful children, Chad and Amber, that's right. And they lived in the first floor here in the basement. And that was a big stretched out apartment. We would always go over there. And the other apartments, we was having a good time, hanging out with friends and stuff. Yeah, man. Oh, Nellie, Bobby, and Jimmy, the Haynes families. May Allah be pleased with them. That's Dave passed, Julie, Mr. Hayes, they passed. And may Allah be pleased with them. Beautiful family. And Wayne, he's the last child of that. He's grown, good brother, my brother Wayne. Oh, now they're saying I got a slow connection, y'all. Well, I'm gonna round this up. God, I got to do this. Oh my God, I just touched on the early 80s. Right here, 299 Jackson. I didn't even get down the terrace. And on the Heights, I'm gonna go over the terrace on the Heights, but 299 Jackson, this was 79 to 89. And that was an era. It's odd how I moved around Hempstead during eras. You know, not generation, 20 years is a generation, but eras. A decade is an era. From the early 70s to 79 was 33 East Graham on the Hills. Then 79 to 89 was 299 Jackson. That represents two different eras. They're very significant. And then over at 600 Fulton, we moved over there in like 1990 to like 2012, something like that. 20 years over there, 20 something years. And I consider it all good times and beautiful times because of great development that I am. I'm a work in progress. I'm always growing, always striving. Like Abraham, striving to be upright. See, the sun is coming out. When you teach the truth, there's a light. And 299 Jackson, that absolutely represented my wild days, but then I transformed. Back in 80, back in 80, I would say it was 87, I said I'm changing my life around because I'm lucky to have a seed put in me. Back in 79, me and Mike, oh my God, I'm gonna save that for terrace, but I was hanging out with Mike. It was me, Mike, Isaac, Johnny, Pookie,